Get I should have brought mine. Oh, my goodness. I've let the side down. I'm spreading the disease, mate. Unbelievable. Welcome, everybody, to Rip It Off the Card on this disastrous Wednesday night. We're in lockdown for yet another week. The COVID thing is getting out. It is come. The world is going to the shit house. But Aaron and I are still here. Yay, team. How you going, old son?
Good. I thought you said the Cobra thing is getting out. That would be pretty cool. We're all inside because of Cobras. I'm always socially distant, so it's just normal for me.
See, that's the thing. You want to be socially distant, where I actually want to be socially closer to, if you know what I mean. So there you go. First things first, got to ask now for people who watch this show. We've got 7 people watching right now, which is all very cool. We all know that you run a store, Aaron's Collectibles, bricks and mortar store in Blackburn. Obviously, it's shut at the moment. Give us a bit of a rundown as to how you guys are coping.
Well, we're shut to the public. We're still in here sorting, pricing, organising stuff. We have our online store, which is still operating, and we can do curbside pickup. So if anyone wants to support us by going to the website and getting something, you can get it posted still, or you can come and pick it up really quickly just from outside the shop. But apart from that, yeah, we're all going to hell.
I love the fact you've got a curbside pickup. So what happens for those who are out there watching and you're thinking, oh, I might buy something from Aaron's Collectibles and get the curbside pickup. What happens is you get some dude in this black hat and this big trench coat come up with the dark glasses wearing this mask going, psh, psh, here's your collectible, piss off before we get sprung.
What actually
Mate, socially, how do you do social distancing when you got to be like right next to each other handing this thing over?
If you pull up outside, you text us, and then Chad and I open the door and just piff all the stuff at you through the window of your car and you drive off.
Mate. So this is where you need to knock down one of your windows and introduce your own, like when they do drive-through coffees, or it's like people outside in the street, and you can just chuck the collectibles through and all this sort of thing. That'd be the way to go. It's like what do you call it? Like a drive-through, but without the drive-through, so to speak.
Yeah, so people come through and go, I'd like a Star Wars figure, and you go, do you want Mr. Potato Head with that?
No, I want a spanking, if you don't mind, umpire. And I hope that depending on who's serving that person, you don't misinterpret their request. So unbelievable. But no, it isn't good news that Pearl Aaron's store is shut down at the moment. But as he said, the online store is still going. So go to aaronscollectibles.com and start buying up big, if any, for the...
And good evening, everyone. It looks like there's a lot of people saying hi today. So maybe because everyone's at home, there's nothing better to do.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, everybody should be in lockdown. What else would you be doing except wasting your time watching us? I mean, there's no Lego show on as far as I know. I mean, I was on a show the other day and somebody was watching MasterChef of all things while we were on. I thought, oh, my God, how insulting is that? So, but we're here and we're going to hopefully entertain you, put a smile on your dial for the next hour and a bit as we Google on about very exciting stuff. And I guess based on that, we should probably get into it. What do you reckon, old son?
I think go for it, yep.
Very, very cool. I'm going to make sure I press the right button. I'm out of touch, you see. So, as always, we're going to kick off with a bit of news. And yes, I do agree with you. As hello to everybody who's joined us at the moment, which is, look at these. Rob's even called us gentlemen. Oh, I wouldn't have classed myself as a gentleman. I'm a dude, man. So, there you go. All right, very good. Let's move on with it. What have we got? Got a whole stack of these pictures.
So this is a news item, and it's an unusual one because it's actually an eBay item that's turned up this week. Someone has got all the production and pre-production and prototypes from the LGN Temple of Doom range and put them up on eBay. And there's some figures here that were never released. I think all of the stuff is known about, but it's never went into production. So Temple of Doom, I think, had 3 figures, Indiana Jones, Mola Ram, and a Thuggy, yeah. So those 3 actually went into production. They were never released in Australia apart from through a Kellogg's mail-away where you could win them. They weren't a big deal at the time. Temple of Doom didn't do well in the toy shops in America, so it didn't really come over here. I think they're fantastic figures, but for these to all show up in one auction is absolutely amazing. I mean, to find so many prototypes, all complete, the different stages, so painted, unpainted, and then the hard copies is pretty incredible. But when you have incredible items, it comes with an incredible price tag.
Very, very, very cool. We'll get to the price tag in a moment, but just so people can have a bit of an idea as to what this thing looks like. And while we're actually flicking through these things, if you want to take a guess, because we're not going to, it's not a competition, just write down what you think these things went up for, you're more than welcome to do so. So it's very funny. You said that the Temple of Doom stuff didn't sell as well as. I'm personally not surprised because it was a bit of a darker movie than Raiders. And you can imagine they thought about, let's produce some little children, like the little Indian kids who are like the slaves. I was like, that's going to sell like an absolute nobody's business.
No. Well, I can just imagine Kellogg's when franchises sell their images before the movie comes out, because there's a lot of planning into these things. And can you imagine Kellogg's does this thing for Indiana Jones, and then they see the movie and it's about people getting their hearts ripped out and thrown into lava and stuff like that. They're probably like, I didn't know that was going to be in the movie for breakfast cereal.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it didn't really work for me. So even though we're just taking some punts here. So Colin has said 30,000. William has said 15,000. Joe has said 20,000. Mark has said 5,000, and Rob has said 50,000. There you go. So, and if Greg pops up his $2, I'll be wrapped for his garage sale. So there you go. But there you go. So they're, I think, prototype unpainted. Is that right, or a bit of a mixture of both?
Yeah, there's the different stages. So there's the hard sort of prototypes, the unpainted ones, the painted ones that give the factory the correct colours for when they go into production. So there's a lot of items in this. So that's why I've put it in the news, because it's quite interesting, especially for vintage toys and Indiana Jones fans. I think it's one of those things where the auction is probably at what I would think it would be worth, but I do think they would have made more if they'd sold them individually. The hard ones to get there, the most interesting ones are, of course, Willie and Short Round, which never went into production.
Very good. So Ange has taken Greg's thunder and said $2. So good on you, Ange. And Ange is usually pretty good at this particular competition. Phil said 20,000. Joshua said 10,000. And James at the bottom here has said 30,000. So we're just going to skip through that. This isn't part of the competition, by the way. We just sort of would mention this, but that's what they went for. So in Australian dollars, 45,700 and something.
Well, they actually haven't gone for that. This is the auction. It's available at the moment. But
yeah, I just realised that. Sorry.
Yes, sorry, but I think it's one of those things where prototypes like that are really rare, and probably worth a couple of $1,000s each. And if they'd sold them separately, undoubtedly things like Willie Scott and Short Round, which there are a couple of, will have really gone up there and been more than $1,000 a figure. But because they've put them all in the one auction, you have to have really deep pockets to buy all of them in one go like that. So it's one of those things where I think if they'd have been a bit smarter about how they'd sold the figures, they would have got more. I don't know how much they've gone for. There might be a couple of people who go for it and then split them up and keep the ones they want. Who knows? Maybe we'll come back next week and see how it went.
So had it been a Last Crusade one, the Sean Connery figure would have been worth $1 million. And I love what Joe has said here, keeping it family friendly. Well, it's exactly right. So, and even Joshua said, yeah, wow, it's a lot of money indeed. But yes, and it was sold in, is for sale in UK dollars or pounds. And of course, once you convert it to American dollars and then to Australian dollars, yes, it's not cheap at all. But we move along to something particularly cool for people who like stuff. What have we got here?
So here's another announcement. These aren't the actual figures they're going to be. This is a mock-up that I found on one of the news websites. But Lego have decided that one of their waves of blind bag figures is going to be a Star Wars wave. And people have been asking for this for ages because they would like to get individual Star Wars figures without having to buy the entire sets. And the wave is rumoured to be based on all of the series on Disney+. So they're doing figures of probably arguably the most popular part of the Star Wars franchise at the moment, the Mandalorian, the Bad Batch, the Clone Wars, and all of that kind of thing. So it'll be really interesting to see how these sell compared to the other waves of figures. I think a couple of weeks ago we looked at the current ones, which were going to be Warner Brothers cartoons, and I think they're all very, very cool. But Star Wars adds that extra level of fans looking for stuff. So these will be a very popular wave with collectors.
Clearly, Ange was not a fan of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom because he still reckons those things are only worth $2. So there you go. Just regards to this, a couple of things I wanted to pick up on. I like how if you've got a bald character in the show, they don't even produce a bald thing for the head. They just leave it blank. So poor old Mace Windu, or in this bigger picture up here, they've just said, nah, stuff that. We're not even going to put a smooth part on him. What do you reckon of that?
Well, I think it's really lucky. You know, up until Star Wars, every single Lego character was yellow, and Darth Vader was actually the first character that wasn't yellow. He was grey under the helmet, and then after that, the floodgates opened, and you got skin color and all the different colors and stuff like that. But it was a big thing for Lego. They didn't know if they were going to do it, move away from yellow figures. So Mace Windu could have been bald and yellow.
There you go. And Ange just for he likes Temple of Doom, but whatever, Ange. Go with the joke, son. Now here's one for you. Who's this dude? What's this?
I don't know. Like I said, this isn't an official release. It's just the news has leaked that this is what they're going to do, and a site had put some different figures together. So I'm not sure who that one was actually meant to be.
And for those who are wondering, good old Greedo way over here hasn't appeared in any TV series on Disney Plus as yet. He still only makes the one appearance in A New Hope, which is very, very cool. But otherwise, very, very groovy. So, I mean, as you know, dudes can't get enough of their Star Wars. So when these things come out, you watch some and be far more popular than others, and some will have will be completely forgotten, and they'll be the ones worth the most. So there you go.
Hundreds of Lego fans standing in the shop feeling their bags to see if they can discern what figure is inside.
That's a very good point. Speaking of Star Wars, and ironically, this actually links back to a conversation we had a couple of weeks ago. There's this.
Yes. So we were talking about the Empire Strikes Back pinball machine, which is incredibly, incredibly rare. And I said, I don't think I've seen one for sale, and I've only seen a couple in my lifetime out in the wild. And then, of course, one turns up on eBay this week, which is, Murphy's Law. So that's another one. If you've got 20 grand sitting around, it's a buy it now. You can probably get it delivered before we come out of lockdown and play pinball for the whole of lockdown.
I do find it interesting. It doesn't say if it's in working order or anything. It just says used, right? Now, that photograph could have been taken like 30 years ago. So you do wonder. It just... Normally, if you really want to sell an item, and you of all people know this, you really sell it, you go to town on it, you go, okay, it's in excellent condition, it's awesome, all the things work, the bells work, this work. And for all you know, you cough up 20 grand, you go to pick it up, and the damn thing is like been in the back of been used as a carport or something for your car for the past couple of decades, and it's just all
a family of possums living inside it or something.
Yes, exactly right. So... Now, this can be interpreted in many different ways, but Greg has said he's been known to feel up. You don't say feel up, you just say feel. Because if you come across the Amidala one or the Princess Leia one, he's like, yes, I'll definitely feel up those packets. But Jesus.
I wonder if he's been in the toy section and someone like security to toys. Yeah, it's a family show. We can't say the jokes that we want to say, but believe me, I'm thinking of a whole lot of them right now. Where's Spanking the Monkey when you need him? All right, let's move on, shall we? And the last bit of news, I thought this was funny. It turned up on my Facebook feed. You can get a Godzilla nightlight, which is a cool idea, but can you think like of the poor kids who get a nightlight like this, and they're maybe a little bit young and a little bit scared, and they wake up in the middle of the night and they've got freaking Godzilla roaring beside their head? That is not going to get anyone a good night's sleep, is it?
Well, one thing's for certain, they definitely won't sleep in for school. That is for sure. So there you go. So that's the news for the week, which of course then leads us into a very, very cool edition of our eBays. Now, for those who don't know this thing, and I think everybody's sort of regulars here, these are all sold items. So you just need to give us the price that you think something went for. And as we've seen already, Ange reckons that Temple of Doom prototype figures are only worth $2. So don't pay attention to Ange tonight. What can I say? So there you go. So what are we talking about tonight?
Well, this will be another one for Greg King. We're going to be looking at life-size things.
Love it.
This is a life-size alien head from the movie Aliens. So it's a Geiger alien life-size head by Cool Props. So this is the real deal, a really nice full-size prop. So I think we're all going to be on the money when we're going to say this is not going to be cheap, is it?
Now, I like it. You give it to your other half, and you say, "Hey, honey, I think of you whenever I see this." And of course, it's got the double teeth that come out, and this is like you can interpret that many different ways. So, yes, a Geiger's good old alien life-size head by Cool Props. It does look very groovy in that picture, that's for sure. So, what does everybody think this actually sold for? These did sell, by the way. Or this did sell. So there you go. All right, Joshua has said $12,500. Ange, being Captain Smartass, is going $445. I'm just going to round that up because I can. What else do other people think? We've got 17 people watching us at the moment. They're all sitting there. Don't Google it. Don't cheat. Just take a punt as to what you think it is worth. All right, Rod has said 4,000. Mr. Joel, Pinball Collector Extraordinaire, has said 3,000. Colin has said 25. James has said 15,000. The Vile is in town, violating us once again for 2,500. William has said 5,000, and Phil has said 20,000. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? So remember, it is actually a replica. It's not a screen-used one. Rob has said 10,000. So there's a bit of a mixed bag there. I think Ange is the only cheapskate at 445. So there you go. April calling us from England once again, live from the UK, which is absolutely fantastic. She said 1,500. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So what do you think? Gigas, hang on. Pretty sure that way. Greg said, I'm pretty sure it won't turn up at the garage sale. There you go. Very good. Matthew, he's a bit skeptical. He's gone 750. So there you go. All right, let's get on to the answer. The price Geiger's Alien life-size head for Cool Props went for, there we go, $3,200.
I thought that was quite reasonable for a full-size alien head. I have a quick story about full-size alien head. I digress. I don't know if you remember
by the way, go on.
When we first opened the shop, we had an alien skull. So I had a full-size alien skull. And when I got that, I took that home and said to my son, let's have some fun. Let's go. He was in prep at the time. Let's go and bury it in the prep sand pit. And you can go to school tomorrow and say you killed a monster. And when all the other kids say, you're lying, you're full of it, you can say, well, I buried it in the sand pit. And so he went and dug it up and pulled out the full-size alien skull from the sand pit, and everyone believed that he had killed a monster and buried it in the sand pit.
Yeah, you know what that means now? Whenever they see a real monster in the place, they're going to get turned to him and say, all right, dude, if you kill the last one, you got to kill this one. Joel got this at 3,000, just needs to add an extra $100. So well done there, Mr. Joel. And just to clarify, I thought this was true, and I'm sorry about this, April. Yeah, you're in Scotland now, not in England. So there you go. Very good. Yes, he's got an alien. You can interpret that. There's a lot of misinterpretations here. What can I say? So very, very cool. What?
If you sold my alien head, I don't think you get 3,000 for it.
Very good. I'll tell you what, that's one that Spanker the Monkey definitely won't be going for. All right, very, very cool. Let's move on, shall we?
Well, this is really interesting. It's a full size, so you can sit on it. You can get your friends to sit on it, have it at the head of your table for a dinner party. Game of Thrones, medieval sword throne from... it's not actually one from the series, but a replica of the Game of Thrones throne. I think this would be a pretty huge item to have full size. You'd probably have to keep it in a garage or keep it in a large room. It's one of those things you could take to events and everyone would want photos in it. So interesting item. I've never seen one of these come up before.
Yeah, I thought it was, first off, it didn't say Game of Thrones. It just says throne, medieval sword throne. So whoever's selling it probably doesn't really know what it is. The fact that it is life-size, this thing must be enormous. Now, if it's made of fiberglass, maybe it is transportable, but it does look very, very heavy. And I love the fact that it's free local pickup. So there's no curbside crap for this, or your local Australia Post van isn't going to be able to drop this thing off. And, of course, when you look at the picture, your brain can't work out the scale. So a human being would sit here, right? So this thing has been bloody gigantic. So, and who made it is anybody's guess. But there you go. But if you like sitting on the throne, and I don't mean the porcelain one, you can come and check this one out. All right, where are we? Okay, so Ange, $44. Ange is obviously not in the mood tonight, so he's just giving us really crappy answers. Joe's gone for 5,000, not a penny more. 30,000 from William. Rod has gone for 4,000. Joshua has gone for 7,500. Yeah, exactly right, Dave. Dave's joined us tonight, towing that home. Exactly right. Put some wheels on it, and away you go. Colin has said 500. Joel has said 1,000. He's already got the first one so far, which is good. 3,000 from Mark. Rob has said 4,000. Anyway, 5,000 from the Vile. 2,500 from James. You never know, Matthew. Maybe they just want to get rid of it, and they're actually like selling it really, really cheap. And Phil has said 5,000. And Emily, is a new face in the crowd today, which is fantastic, is 4,500. And Thomas has said 2,200, which is absolutely awesome. Well, exactly right. That's what I was saying, Rod. The fact that Game of Thrones isn't mentioned in the description, people may misinterpret what it really was. So a lot of people would say, oh, I'd love to have one of those. But, of course, they have the issue. It's like, well, where am I going to put it? It's like freaking Paul Aaron and his Doctor Who pinball machine. So, and that thing would be a pain in the ass. And if you weren't a fan of it, or sorry, you were a fan of it, but your other half wasn't, they'd be going, are you serious? And then I get the feeling this will be chucked out pretty cheap.
You could cut a hole in the seat and then put it in your toilet, and you would have the coolest toilet in the neighbourhood.
Nah, don't cut the seat out. Leave it intact and just, harden up and just consider it to be a challenge. So there we go. All right, so what do we think this went for? Very, very cool. So it's a Game of Thrones thing, full size of all things. Unbelievable. X-movie, TV show, event prop, and the prices. Look at that. It did go cheap, $650.
So yeah, that was one of those things. If I'd have seen for $650, I almost would have done a road trip up to Sydney to pick it up. I think that was cheap. I don't know where I'd put it, but yeah, very cool item for very cheap price.
See, once again, it has those issues where it's like, that is great, that's fantastic, but practically, it's not practical unless you have a place that can handle this sort of stuff. And before long, large things like this do tend to get they just become an eyesore, and they do end up getting chucked out. So I'm not surprised at all it went really cheap. Ironically, a scale model of this probably would have gone for a lot more. Colin, I think, has got this one. He needs to add an extra $150 on it, but it seems like he's got it. So well done, good work, sir. There you go. How good is that? Very, very cool. Good stuff. Nice. Cheap for sure. Yeah, well, exactly right. It is cheap. And, yeah, that's the reason why we think. Yeah, put on the porch for beer time. Yeah, I like that one. That would work well. Very, very good. All right, we move on. Number 3. What do we got here?
Well, here we have your classic Gremlin, but I think this one's even cooler because it's the Flasher Gremlin. So this is a NECA product. It's a 1-to-1 full-size Gremlin. I think this one did sell out because it was popular. They did the regular Gremlin, they did the Lady Gremlin, they did this one. So I thought this is one of those, because Gremlins aren't too big, a nice size prop you can have in your house. Sit in your room somewhere, terrorize your friends and pets, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because when you think of Gremlins, you don't necessarily think of the second movie so much. You always think of the first one. So, yeah, I don't know. Interesting, but it is brand new. So there you go. So, if you're good at mechanics, maybe you can get the arms to close so you can actually do the flashing motion. That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it, eh? Yeah. All right. Where are we? So, yeah, they do need to do Spike, but, yes, clearly they haven't in this instance. All right, Matthew has said 450. Ange is still on his 4s. I don't know what's the deal with all the 4s tonight, mate? At 445. Jared has said 745. Mark has said 495. Rod has at 700. I like that. Yeah, spanking after a few beers. Yeah, absolutely right. I like that one, Colin. William has said 800. No one's gone really big on this one, which is kind of cool. There was a flasher in the first one. Yeah, there wasn't there? I don't remember it very, very well. It was a long time ago. So very, very cool.
Gremlin flashed. She took a photo of it, didn't she? I think.
Yeah, I sort of get him all a bit mixed up. Anyway, Joel has said 450 because he's seen him around. James has said 400. Phil is at 750. Joshua's at 1,200. Rob has said 350. Colin has said 350 as well. The Vial is at 1,800. And Thomas is at 800. And we're actually quite a little bit happy here at the moment because not only is some good bids coming through, we've got 20 people watching us at the moment. So clearly COVID is good for us because everybody's stuck at home, which is absolutely awesome. So there you go. All right, so Gremlins 2, a life-size figure replica, stunt puppet film, yada, yada, yada. You know the deal. So if you want a bit of a flash action, what do you reckon? Oh, sorry, Emily, you're coming in a bit late, but I'll take your bid at $1,000. Be funny if you got this. And the price went for $440. Oh, where's Ange? He's been giving us all the 4s. He might have got this one.
I think there was a lot of people around it, but 444 is going to win it.
Oh, look at that, Ange. Look at that. Oh, how good is that?
And so, Angelo knows his flashes and what they're worth.
I'll tell you what, there's a few people who got pretty close. So Matthew was at 450, so he was $10 off, but Ange is only $4 off. So Ange, how about that? You've plucked that one out of your furry one, sir. So well done. How about that? Very, 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 very cool. So Ange's wrap, yes, he fluked that one. So there you go. Stick with the 4s. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Spot on. So remember, and we've said this plenty of times, Ange seems to know his shit. Now, the past two guesses, he was way off target. But this one, yeah, he's pretty cool. So there we go. All right, we move along. We've got 2 more to get through. We got this. It's not the ears, it's the mileage.
A life-size cutout of one of the thugs from Cliffhanger. Or as he went on to be, Miles O'Brien from Star Trek. So this is a life-size cardboard cutout. So it's not it's not a prop or anything like that. It's just a cutout. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we had Lerser and Betor go for quite a bit of money, the cardboard cutout. Do you think Miles O'Brien is worth more or less?
Now, for those who haven't haven't got their Trek hat on, this is from Deep Space Nine, not from Next Generation, because he was in both shows. And we've broken, I think, in a official record tonight. We've got 24 people watching us at the moment, which is absolutely insane. So, yay, COVID lockdown for us. I know it's very funny because you'd think, why would you have a Miles O'Brien? He's one of the lesser known characters, and really, you wouldn't think there'd be much demand for this. But hey, he's still meat and box, and even though he's looking a little bored, get it? Very good. Okay. Where are we? Oh, my God, the answers are coming through thick and fast. Okay, Jared has said 925. Thomas is at 125. Colin, who's a Star Trek dude, has said 55. Ange is at 4,000. Good on you, Ange. Where are we? Matthew's at 35. Emily is at 800. Joel is at 180. Mark is at 20. James is at 50. April, from all the way from Scotland, is 2,000. Hope that's not 2,000 pounds. 200 from William. Joshua's at 500. 350 from Rob. 450 from Phil. 20 from Rod. And funnily enough, as soon as I said, we got 24 people watching, 4 people have buggered off and left us. So there you go. Oh, Joel's actually got one. Joel's actually got one of these, by the way. So you never know. If you want to sell it, you never know. The Vial has gone for 50 bars of gold pressed latinum. And Greg has never let me down $5. Absolutely fantastic. It's interesting because it's a collectible, but it's not a collectible because really it's just like, if you said to show this to your friends, nobody would give a crap. But hey, it's still brand new, so there you go. All right, so Miles O'Brien. Okay, what do we think he is worth? Life-size standee, factory sealed, vintage 1993. EA team, he went for $183. How about that?
7 bids. So there was a few people that wanted to get their hands on Miles.
Joel has got this at 180 because he has seen these around. He's only $3.50 short. So there you go. How about that?
That's pretty close.
Yeah, I still don't see the value in it. Some things you can sort of, if it was a main character or like one of the leads, absolutely. But Miles, he's just a dude. So, but yeah, still a lot of money for. I wonder what it came out when it was brand new. It only like $40-50 probably. So
I only ever saw it for sale in one place, and it was a really bizarre place. It was a tattoo shop in Chadstone. Had a whole lot of Deep Space Nine standees back in the day.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go. Very, very good. All right, so if you do end up having to buy, I mean, it's been sold, but if you were to buy one, you could, open it up by yourself and then savor the 1993 air that's within it, which is very, very cool. Yeah, that's a good point, Jared. If you had the whole lot, you're needing for the whole crew, maybe this person did. So there you go. Oh, Joel said, yeah, $60 new. So he's definitely appreciated over the couple of decades. All right, we move on to the last one. Oh, my God, it's R2 F and D2. How good's this?
Well, this is, I guess, the ultimate one-to-one size prop, isn't it? Your very own R2 unit. And, of course, it has the value in the title of the auction. So, of course, it's got to be worth more than $20,000, hasn't it? If you're going to get a real droid from a galaxy far, far away with remote control, it's got to be worth 20 grand.
Now, the interesting thing to note with this, as opposed to the previous bids, only one person bid on it. So it was obviously just one, bang, sold, thanks, pack up, go home. So how about that? But yeah, it's made of fiberglass and all the rest of it. Now, of course, R2-D2 is a lot more common than they used to be because you've got the R2-D2 Builders Modelers Club, and there's like, you can buy all the parts and assemble them yourself and have a whale of a time if you've got the time to do it, or you can just run out and buy the damn thing off the shelf, which is looks like the case here. And it does look pretty good in this particular photo, all nice and clean and shiny and so on and so on. So there you go. And he's remote controlled too, which is kind of cool. All right. So yes, I like that. Value of 20,000. Now that could potentially mean that the owner or whoever built this thing paid 20 grand to put it together, or they just like wanting to inflate the price, but clearly someone fell for it. Okay. Colin has said 10 grand. So he's not going for the fact that it's worth 20. Ange has said, is that $8, Ange? Yeah. Okay, Ange. Good on you, Ange. At least you didn't give me a 4. What does everybody else think? So we've got 22 people watching us at the moment. There must be some ideas there. All right. Rod has said 12,000. Rob has said 5,000. And what do other people think? All right. So Greg has said if one bidder, it says 20,000 plus, then $20,001. I love that. Joel has said he's with Colin at 10 grand. Fair enough. Mark has said 15. The Vial has said 15. Thomas has said 17,500. William is at 11,000. Matthew is at 24. Joshua is at 15. Oh, shit. Sorry. Missed one. Emily's at 18. Christ, the things are going too fast. 10,300 for Jared. April has said £500 seems like nothing, doesn't it? 1,000. And James is at 12,500. And Phil is at 25,000. Funnily enough, Dave Hankin, who was a guest on the show about 4 or 5 episodes ago, actually built his own one of these. So he'd know more than anybody about what these things would be worth. But and of course, once upon a time, you couldn't get an R2-D2 for love or money, and now you can. So if you're a big fan of the droid, or if your kids are, then here's your opportunity to own one, which is kind of cool. Imagine running around the house with this.
I think what you should be doing is getting the Game of Thrones throne and then putting the R2-D2 on the throne to have like sort of 2 franchises mashed together.
But where would you put the middle leg? All right, so, and Claire, who's joined us, is at $80,000. Oh, how good is that? So there you go. Yeah, Jared, I don't think any of them they were never made in metal. They're just too hard. They're just, 3D printed, fiberglass, back formed, whatever. All right, so $20,000 they reckon this thing is worth. A remote control R2-D2, and he's new, ready to go. One person bid on it, bought it, and he paid, or she paid. We're using Australian dollars here, so it's just under 10,500.
Yeah, so even though that is in US dollars, it was sold in Australia. Sometimes Australian sellers will put stuff in US dollars because it's a psychological thing. It actually looks less in US dollars, but they still got just over 10,000 for it.
Look at this. Jared was $75 short. How good is that? Jared, you are the dude, mate. There you go. So how on the ball, son. He knows his droids. Vroopty-broop that one, if you don't mind, umpire. So there you go. Very cool. What do you reckon, kids? But I agree with you. Yeah, putting things in US dollars, it's a psychological thing. People think it's as cheap as chips until they see the exchange rate. So, yeah. That's why putting things in pounds is so good, because pounds looks really, really cheap. But if you're not paying attention, so there you go. Well done. Yes, it is a fluke, but a good fluke, nevertheless. So well done. Very good stuff. All right. So that actually brings us on to, we've got still over 20 people watching, which is absolutely fantastic. Our feature presentation. And what is our feature presentation tonight, Mr. Aaron?
Well, I was quite surprised, Dags, because Dags asked me to do a presentation on cooking during lockdown.
Good on you.
So I don't know if many people know I'm quite a good cook. I didn't think many people in this show would be that interested in cooking during lockdown, but Dags assured me that this was the way we should go for tonight. So we'll be looking at some meals, how to prepare them, how to get them during lockdown, how to amass massive piles of toilet paper so you're not stuck after eating my cooking. And then some of the delivery systems where you can get stuff to you while you're stuck in your house. So this is...
Don't even say it, you freaking smart ass. As soon as I saw this picture, I go, you effing smart ass.
Well, that's for the Imperial Walker delivery service. What's the domain name for that, Dags? Can you just read it for the...
at.com.
I think it's actually at.com.
No, there's only one at, dude, and it's AT, so bloody...
No, we're not doing cooking during lockdown.
Oh, I get it. At AT@. Yeah, I'm going for you. Whatever.
I got you to say it.
Smart ass. Oh, golly. Anyway, move on.
So today we're doing collecting during lockdown. So we'll be looking at collecting during lockdown, how the collector market's changed, and probably I think this will be interesting to a lot of people. I'm going to give away a lot of my secrets of getting stuff super cheap online, where to find it, how to get it into the country, like make the prices in my shop look like a total rip-off because I show you how you can get this stuff,
Well, that's it. You've just shot yourself in the foot. You just said, I'm going to show you how to get this stuff, so you don't get ripped off and all the rest of it. And the first thing I thought is, don't go to Aaron's.
First and foremost, I am a collector, and I'm happy to tell this to people. It's a lot of knowledge from collecting over a lot of time, but these will really give you tips of where to find stuff a lot cheaper online, where to find it, how to source stuff, things like that.
I'll tell you what, though, you've got everybody excited about the cooking thing. So all the messages are coming up here about cooking this and recipes, and I do actually like, just going way back up at the top, what Droid said. The reason Jared, he bought the RT unit, but it wasn't the Droid he was looking for. I reckon that's an absolute classic gag. But all these guys are talking about recipes now, so you got them all start on the food trip, man. You watch the all week off for dinner and leave us for dead. What do you reckon?
Well, we've got lockdown for another week, so maybe cooking in lockdown next week. But I think this one will be interesting, mainly for, I guess, Star Wars and Doctor Who fans, because that's a lot of the examples I'm going to show of how to find stuff and get it cheap. And also for Greg King, who likes to buy everything for $2.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, Mark has made an interesting point. Lockdown collecting can be expensive. You're right. It's called the retail therapy when you can't actually have retail therapy. And I guess that's one of the traps of the entire thing at the moment. People who are spending money they don't have and sort of buying things that they normally wouldn't buy because, you know, it's the whole thing of being locked down and there's this, the self-isolation, the stress and whatever. And people are just going on to various sites going bang, 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 buying maybe, you know, massive R2-D2s and bloody Game of Thrones, and in the end, not realizing they actually don't want them. So, anyway,
well,
you're going to say something?
It's really interesting because you'd think in lockdown people might either not have a lot of money because, you know, no one can go to work, or maybe they have money because they were going to go overseas and on a holiday, and that isn't going to happen anymore. So the collector's market has been up and down and all over the place. What I have found is a lot of really amazing stuff has turned up in the last 18 months because people who did get in trouble, who normally would never sell stuff, have had to sort of liquidate their collection. And then the market has been all over the place as well, because you would think if people were selling everything, the price would be way down, but there's a lot of people at home with a lot of time. So amazing stuff's been turning up, and then it's going for amazing prices. Now, I have said this before, but I absolutely live by it. Collectors don't regret what they buy, they regret what they don't buy. So a lot of stuff turns up, and if it's sort of a once-in-a-lifetime thing, I tend to buy it no matter what the price is, because if I've been looking for something for years and years and years and never seen it, chances are it's going to be a long time before another one turns up. But today we're looking more at being frugal and not being impulse and buying at the highest price, where to turn stuff up, how to find it for a good price and not get ripped off. And so that's where we're going to start. And where does all collecting start these days?
Nowhere at the moment, because I've got two things I want to bring up. So Jared has mentioned about the Amazon delivery thing. Yeah, of all the people who are struggling to have work at the moment, delivery drivers, they're everywhere. And you are right, a lot of people are buying stuff off Amazon, and every day you see delivery vans going around all over the place. And even Mark has said that his Doctor Who collection has grown since due to lockdown, which is kind of cool. And all the collector shows on Netflix aren't helping find cheap stuff either. No, well, there's a lot of demand now because people are sitting at home just shopping for this stuff. But anyway, we move on. It is this.
So a lot of people will go straight to eBay, and I think this is a platform that's boomed over lockdown, but it's also meant prices have gone absolutely through the roof. Can you still get a good deal on eBay? Yep, you absolutely can. But how do we have to how do we have to shop on eBay these days? We have to shop smart. And who tells us to shop smart, Dags?
Is this meant to be Maxwell Smart?
No, it's meant to be Ash from Evil Dead. I forgot you're not a horror fan.
Yeah, sorry. I've seen the original Evil Dead, but I haven't seen the later one. So yeah, sorry, and that was a long time ago. So sorry, I missed the. So
we're gonna look at shopping on eBay smart. Shop S-Smart. Okay. And one of the ways you can find stuff cheap on eBay is look for stuff that's spelt wrong. Often you'll get people who aren't collectors might liquidate stuff from their garage to make a bit of money, and they don't use the right spelling because it's not something they're into. So if you look there's two eBay searches. There's one for Daleks, the ever popular monsters from Doctor Who spelt correctly, and there's 16,000 items that have come up for that. But the search that I'll do quite regularly is for Daleks spelt wrong with an R in there, because a lot of people who aren't Doctor Who fans and just find some old Dalek toys in the garage just spell it like that. And you'll see that there's 155 items spelt that way on eBay. And if I'm someone who's looking for Dalek, yep.
Don't forget, and for those out there, don't go for Daleks, because you'll end up with a completely different search engine. All right? Move on.
This is a really interesting one as well that shows the difference between different eBay stores worldwide. If you put Daleks with an R in Australian eBay, it will find all the Daleks spelt correctly as well. But you've got to do this on English eBay for it to work, and it will show up all the items, just the items that are spelt wrong. Now, you would think that this won't make much of a difference, but it absolutely does. So when I'm looking to refill the Doctor Who cabinet, Daleks spelt with an R, you've got 3 there for £1.99. These are sold prices. And then you've got 6 up the top there for £5.20. And they're both newer items. But it also works on vintage stuff. The Dalek book spelt with an R, £24. Now you can see there's a few bids on that one, so there are still people who know this trick. So I think anyone who collects Doctor Who figures or just Doctor Who in general will recognise that those prices are absolutely rock bottom bargains. Now I have got another picture here of the equivalent items where they're spelt right. So the difference being you've got about 5 Daleks there. They went for £155, where the ones down the bottom went for £5.20. And the Dalek book went for what they usually go for, which is over £100, where the one down the bottom went for £24. So when you're searching for stuff, if you're a bit smart with how you search, you can get stuff at absolute rock bottom prices. So even when you factor in getting the postage from England on those things, if you're paying £155 on one lot and you're paying £5.20 on the other lot, if they rip you off on the postage and charge you £30 or something, you're still way ahead on when you get it landed in the country.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because you have to sort of put a bit of time and effort into it and saying, well, okay, if this is what I'm looking for, and you are right, there are instances where spelling errors are becoming a common thing. Then, of course, you can sit there and go, well, how many different ways of spelling Dalek are there with 2 Ks and 3 Ds and whatever? And I guess you sort of learn a system over a period of time to say, okay, I know this is relatively common, as you said, the DAR, and you just follow that process. And you're right. You would think, who on earth would be stupid enough to do that when clearly the item says DAL? But obviously whoever's writing this stuff, either they're like dyslexic or the person doing it doesn't really care, and they've just chucked it in and said, yep, that's correct, and away we go.
Well, I think they smell it. I think they smell it. I think they spell it just phonetically, and they're like Dalek and put the R in. But I've bought a couple of things at that price. I bought some amazing stuff. Some guy years ago sold all these 6 Daleks, and I was the only one that found them. And when I won them all, he messaged me and he said, "Oh, I can't believe no one else bid on this stuff. Like, you're really lucky to get it for those prices." And I didn't say anything. I just bought them. But it does happen. So if you shop smart and do things like that, you can find some amazing things for great prices.
Here's a question for you. So if it was Daleks, do you reckon there'd be a search for that?
Doesn't work. I've tried a lot of different combinations. So what everyone here is benefiting for my years and years of doing this, like some cheats and stuff that if you collect Doctor Who, you can try and you'll absolutely see it works. The thing with any of this stuff is you have to do it regularly. You're not going to find everything you want and get it super cheap the first time. But if you're searching for Daleks every day or Doctor Who every day, search for that as well, and you will find stuff for sure, and you'll be amazed at what it goes for, as in how cheap it is. So
now, the next example, actually, even I can relate to this because I have seen this spelled incorrectly, and I've done it myself, not for eBay, but just generally, just the way it works on the keyboard. But yeah, what have we got here?
Well, this is one of those things that is another one of those anomalies where people spell Star Wars, Star W-R-A-S, Star Raz. And I think it's one of those things where people are typing so fast, because I've done it myself. When you spell it, it comes out that way. But some people don't proofread what they are actually writing. So you'll put in Star Wars and you can see there's over 1 million items, but there's 75 items there that are spelled Star Raz. And
so
you can
sorry, go on.
You can guarantee those items won't sell because who apart from me looks for Star Raz? They might sell if they have Yoda or something else in the title as well, but
so the funny thing I find, I know I discovered this years ago, that the 2 words Star Wars are all written with the left hand on the keyboard, right? So you can actually go, if you're quick with one hand, you don't even need your right hand, you just need the space key. And I reckon that's one of the reasons why, because it's all written, all typed with the left hand, and that's the reason why you end up with these mistakes. So it's one of those rare things where the name of a movie is all on the left-hand side of the keyboard. So yeah.
So there's a few little things you can do like that, and eBay isn't the only online platform. It works on all the different platforms. So if you're in lockdown, you're not doing anything else, and you're collecting, and you start doing this on eBay and Gumtree and a couple of the other sites, you'll find more and more stuff. And I guess if you're looking for something specific, it's not going to be as easy. But if you're a collector of, figures and stuff, and you just like have a look at everything, you are going to find stuff, and it will be cheaper. And you can take advantage of people not proofreading or not listing stuff correctly.
A couple of things. So I like what Jared said. This is the Polish spelling. That's actually quite funny. So you put a bit of shine on that for me, if you don't mind, umpire. Get it, Polish. Anyway, whatever. Phil, you can try 10,000 different variations, but there's clearly only one or two that are ever going to work, and the DAR sounds like the go if you're going to be doing that. And push the index. So there, yeah. Okay, we'll move on. So what have we got now?
Well, this is another way that I shop smart. Now, this is, again, a Doctor Who thing. Doctor Who fans will know that that's a very, very rare badge from the 60s. It's a Menoptera, the giant sort of butterfly man. And you can see, I don't know if you can see down the bottom, it's quite small, but it says that went for, I think, £550. So quite an expensive badge, nearly $1,000 for that badge. Now, I picked one up, I think it was for £5, and it took me years and years and years, but I kept doing search for Butterfly Man badge, because I kind of figured it doesn't have Menoptera or Doctor Who printed anywhere on it, but someone who finds one and lists it on eBay, they're going to list it as Butterfly Man, because that's kind of what it looks like. And when you put in Butterfly Man, I'm surprised every time you find about 30 or 40 different badges. And it took me a couple of years to do it, but I eventually found the Doctor Who one and saved myself about £500.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it, when you have products that don't have a really obvious description, if you don't know what it is, and you go, well, what the hell do I put it? And because you obviously don't want to put something so obscure that no one can find it. And this is very interesting, because Rod has made a point about saying that the Laser He-Man figures did it all in Spanish, and then they obviously yielded some great results. But yes, there's nothing worse when you have no idea what the product is or how to describe it, and you're thinking, well, am I gonna? And if you do a search, you don't even know what to search for to compare it with anything else. So yeah, that stuff that can be really, really awkward. So well done for that one, dude.
Yeah, so it is one of those things. If you're looking for something.
I'm just going to cut you off because I've got a very good question that's come through. Michelle has asked about whether you use the picture similarity function through Google, and did it work for you?
I have. The thing I tend to find, the stuff I'm looking for is so specific, I will use that, and it'll find options that have already finished. So you've got, I guess it's like anything. I don't use picture searches as much. I probably would, if I used them every single day, you probably would find a lot of things eventually. But the thing with pictures, it's very specific. You have to be looking for exactly the same item. So I have used it on occasion. I haven't had much success for it. I usually find stuff that's already been sold and archived. So it throws up other examples, but nothing for sale.
Now that brings us to the last one of the last pictures of this segment, and I was just of this particular area and of the S-Mart. So what have we got here?
Well, this is one of those things where you can be smart as well by searching on the different regions of eBay where a franchise isn't as popular as it is in the UK or the US or Australia. People forget a lot of the time that eBay doesn't just have a global market. There's individual eBays. There's like 30 or 40 different individual eBays. But before we go to the next slide, this is one of the rarer Doctor Who items. It's a Dalek shooting set from the 60s. It's a lovely piece. And one went a couple of weeks ago on British eBay for £1,365. But one of the things I do, I sign into all the different international eBays, and I found this on eBay in the Netherlands, and it was with a couple of other games, and I think it was £200 buy it now. So a huge, huge difference just by searching in different regions. When you do a global search for eBay, it doesn't actually really do a global search. And a lot of the non-English speaking countries, it doesn't show up. Like what Rod was saying about He-Man, I used to go to Italian eBay and look up Muscalor, which was He-Man's name in some parts of Europe. And like he said, some of the really rare figures that are sold locally turn up under that name and no one knows they're there. It used to work really well. Unfortunately, because online selling has gone so well, a lot of the dealers in those countries now can find those items under the local search, and they will flip them and put them on the international search, and they still go for huge prices.
So what happens in the issue if you're looking at foreign countries, and you, like in your case, you said you found the Doctor Who game in the Netherlands. Is there an issue or potential issue where you're going to have foreign languages on the packaging? It's not just English.
Well, no, because a lot of the stuff that I like, there is, but sometimes that makes that more collectible. But the items that I was looking for usually have only been released in the UK, and we will look a bit later at looking at international items for those people who collect different versions of stuff. The other thing that I was going to bring up here, and it makes a huge difference in the price, is the time when you look at eBay, because there is a pattern to what time of day things go cheaper and things go more expensive. If I'm going to list something on eBay, and this is something I've always found, prices always go for a lot more on Tuesday and Thursday nights from about 9 o'clock till midnight. Now, I guess that might be nights when people are at home or they're not got stuff on, but they're at home and they're just looking. If you put the same item on a Friday night when everyone's out, you might only get a third of what you would on a weeknight. So if you're looking for stuff to buy, the best times to buy stuff I found is between 1 and 4 in the afternoon when everyone's at work. So people who list stuff that ends at those times can be very disappointed by, what they get, because there's just no one at home. If you're at work, you're not meant to be on eBay. If you're doing the school pickup or whatever, you're probably not looking at eBay at the same time. So you can be smart on looking at the items that end during the time of the day when no one's around. There's been times where I've bought stuff off of eBay and it's gone for the minimum bid because it ends at, 3 in the afternoon. Then I've put the same items on eBay but listed them to end like 10 o'clock on a Thursday night and got 10 times the price.
Very good. Jared has made a mention about Japanese eBay. Yeah, well, there would be. Japan produces a lot of their own merchandise over there, which is quite good. I love this comment from Spankin saying he'd be stuffed selling things on eBay because he can't spell. Ironically, he spelled everything. He spelled this entire sentence correctly, so which is kind of cool. Phil, I'm not going to put it. It's a long message, but he did say well done on saving money on the Manaptra badge. So it was a really, really well done. April's made a mention about the Dalek game in the 80s from Province of for $50. So before the value just shot up. And Rod has said, Drew originally got a great deal at the seller's expense because of the auction ended at 11 p.m. on a Sunday night. Yeah, there is definitely a knack to it, isn't there, eh? Yes, and so go on.
Yeah, there's a whole science for buying and selling on eBay. And if you do it smart, you can save a lot of money,
We would know, eh? That's probably why there's a lot of professional people out there who can actually make an entire income just from buying and selling eBay if you've got the time to do it and you know your stuff. With that in mind, when I saw this, I thought, don't tell me you paid £1,300 for this, because I thought, dude, what are you doing? But no, if you scored well on this, then, good for you. Well done.
Yeah. Okay, and then this is what I was talking about with different international eBays, where you can see there all the different individual one. So what I would do is not look at every single one of those, but there are ones that seem to turn up better stuff than others. So if I was looking for Doctor Who, for some reason, Holland and the Netherlands got a lot of stuff. I think they tried to launch Tom Baker in the 70s, and it did okay, but it didn't do massively well. So a bit of merchandise went over there and turns up. Germany, I found a lot of really interesting stuff in Germany. Until the new series, stuff used to go really cheap, but the new series got Germans popular in Doctor Who, so the old stuff sort of dried up a bit then. And then you've got, of course, the UK, where the most Doctor Who stuff turns up. And if you're looking for Star Wars, I mean, you can't beat the USA, which has such a huge population, such a lot of stuff was sold that still amazing stuff turns up for cheap prices if you're over there and looking. So if you are into a specific collectible, it does well to research where that collectible was popular. And if you search regionally, you can find a lot more of it and at a lot better price than if you just search globally like everybody else.
So to give you a couple of examples in a moment, but I love this comment from Spankin. Spankin's obviously a big fan of the show, that Tash helped me with his spelling and he even spelled out dictionary, which is kind of cool. And now here's some examples that what you were talking about, yeah, man?
Yep. So someone mentioned before about the crazy stuff that is on Japanese sites. Now, a lot of people just stick to eBay, but I'm going to go across now and show some of the other Japanese sites that you can use quite well. And some, this is European, and some of the ways you can get some of these things. So if you go back to the previous one, which was the Japanese ones, there's Japanese versions of the VHS and Japanese versions of the books, and there's a Korean comic there that I've been searching for ages, but I haven't been able to find, a Doctor Who one from the 80s. And then in the Netherlands, again, the TV Zeegal album was something I found during lockdown just through persistence of doing searches and looking in different places for it.
The only issue I would have with that is that if you're following a franchise and there's a lot of products for the franchise and you're buying and you're collecting and you're having a great time, and then suddenly you dip your toe into foreign markets, you then say, well, Al, I've got all the Doctor Who books. Actually, go with Star Trek. Go a different franchise. I've got all the Star Trek books in English. Oh, hang on. They've all been released in a foreign language. And I bought one because I'd never seen this one before. It's got new artwork on the cover in this foreign language. Do I then have to that's bad English, start looking around in these foreign countries to say, well, I now need all the Uzbekistan Star Trek novels and I need all the Moroccan Star Trek novels, especially if they have different artwork or they've done something different. This is why Japan is such a big deal, because they just make so much of their own stuff. And I would say that purchasing stuff overseas is fantastic and it's awesome, but it has the potential of bringing you undone, because then all of a sudden you go, well, last week I didn't even know about Kyrgyzstan having Star Trek novels, but I bought 50 of them last week this week for $1,000, and there's another 6,000 to go, and now I'm on the hunt. So that'd be my advice. Just be careful of getting into foreign markets.
Well, my advice is don't take any notice of what Dags just said, because that's what I did during lockdown. I decided I was going to complete every edition of all the Doctor Who books I didn't have in different languages, and I would pick a different country a day and go through all the different sites to try and find them. But where Dags is saying I paid $1,000, I'm going to show you how you can get them cheap.
The point being that, if you're stuck with English, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. Just be wary of what you're getting yourself into. And I like what Jared is. It's Star Trek Stan. You're exactly right. Because you might find suddenly I now have 600,000 Star Trek books covering 15 different languages, but I can only read one language. So anyway, very, very good.
Okay.
So I love that. All right, we move on.
So, who here has ever bought anything from Mandarake, which is a huge Japanese store? Now, Mandarake is a physical store in Japan. There's actually quite a few of them, and they have the most insane collections of toys and collectibles. Of course, they mainly have Japanese franchises, but they have everything else. If anyone's ever been to Japan and seen these shops, you'll be blown away by what they had. Yep. Tags.
Well, one thing I'd be blown away is you've pronounced it Mandrake, but you've missed an A. So it's actually Mandarake if you're going to spell it phonetically.
I've only heard it pronounced Mandarake, but
you could be right. But the way it's spelled, it's Mandarake, or because you're missing the middle A up the top here. If you'd just go Mandarake. So anyway, I just sort of point that out, but you could be right. Anyway, move on.
No problem. So this is one of those places that up until the internet, you could only shop if you went over to Japan. Now, if anyone has ever been into any of the toy districts, they are absolutely mind-blowing. It's like going into, I guess, Maya in its heyday, but every single story and every single department is toys. And you can spend the entire day there going through secondhand toys, and the only thing you're limited by, I guess, is time and money. So if you can't find something on Australian eBay, it's often good to try some of these international sites. So it might be a bit hard if you don't like, dealing internationally, or find it a bit hard if you don't speak the language. But with Google Translate these days, you can translate most pages. And the other thing is it's geared to sell internationally. So you can find everything. It does have reshippers if people won't ship to you. And it is a lot easier process. When I was collecting Doctor Who in the 80s, and tried to get stuff from Japan, forget it. It was absolutely impossible. I had connections who collected records over there, and I got a couple of records by using those connections, but it was very hard unless you knew someone there to get anything out of Japan. So I'd given up on a lot of stuff, and then some of these sites came along, and we're going to look at 2 different ones that I use, and it opens up a whole world of different collectibles.
So James has been there, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of stores that if you've been to Japan, you've probably been to all these places, so it makes a lot of sense. Now, Jared has reckons it's pronounced Mun Durake. So chances are both Aaron and I are both wrong, but I'm happy to stick with his Mandrake because
I think both of us are wrong. I think both of us are wrong quite a lot, but it doesn't stop it, does it?
This is a classic problem. Been to Japan a couple of times, love the shops, but the missus gets bored pretty quickly. Yeah, I think a lot of people echoing those sentiments. I think
once we're out of lockdown, we do just a massive road trip with everyone who wants to over for 2 weeks in Japan, hitting the toy shops. How's that sound?
Very good. And what we need to do is have a bumper sticker on the back of our cars, our respective cars, that says, "If you can pronounce Mandarake correctly, thank Jared, our Japanese language teacher, because he clearly has an idea as to what the hell's going on." So anyway, we move on.
So I decided to use Star Wars as an example when I was looking for this segment, because they have a lot of it and they have a lot of stuff that people will have never seen before. Now, I collect vintage Star Wars, and there's not much that I haven't seen, but when I was looking at this, there was this little rinky-dinky vintage Star Wars land speeder that I never knew existed, and I haven't seen in any pricing guides or anything before. And it's one of those things where, when you collect stuff and you have a whole new market, then all of a sudden you realize there's a lot of stuff sold regionally that doesn't get catalogued and doesn't show up so much. And you can go through this site for hours and hours and find lots of different things. But that was one of the things I just thought I'd bring up as an example. And the thing you've got to get your head around when you shop internationally is the exchange of prices. So when you see stuff written in yen, it looks a lot more than it actually is in dollars, because the dollar's stronger than 1 yen. So when we've gone through a little bit, I've done the conversions so we can see the local price of stuff.
Yes, sorry, I circled the wrong one earlier, but yes, it's that one there, the land speed. It took me a while to realise where it was. So yeah.
No problem. So, and you'll see, like all places, there's a lot of crap pops on this site too. It's one of those things that just shows it's an international phenomenon. So here's a couple of the rarer items. So I was going through and just looking at everything Star Wars. Now, these are a bit expensive, but they're very, very collectible. The Takara version of Star Wars figures, a lot of people search for. Now, this is a Takara C-3PO that's up on the site. I think it's 130,000 yen. It's a bit hard to see there, but that translates at about $1,400, which isn't bad when you're looking at that type of collectible and what they go for internationally. And then down the bottom there is the Takara version of the X-Wing, which is also a very, very rare toy. I think I've only ever seen 1 or 2 in Australia, and that's also expensive, but it's kind of what they go for. I think that one worked out at about $2,000 as well. But I'll show how we can find these even cheaper coming up.
So Michelle's asked, this is for you more than for me. So using the land speed as an example, is there anything on that list, on your list, that's a must-have that you would pay any amount for?
I found a couple of things on Mandarake that have been stuff I've had to have, and there's another site we're going to look at called Jaws, which had one of the items I've been looking for years and years, like nearly 40 years, and it turned up. So when that happens, it's well worth doing the searches for these things. And sometimes, when you're looking for something that obscure, it's either going to be super expensive or super cheap because someone has it and doesn't know what it is, or someone has it and knows exactly what they've got. So again, you've got to shop smart and do your research and make sure you get the one that's the cheapest rather than buying the first one you see and jumping in and paying over the top.
So the thing is, Michelle, one of the hardest things about being a collector of anything is when you come across something you've never seen before. You didn't even know it even existed. So you're just doing a random search. Say you go onto this site here and you're looking for one particular item. Say Aaron's big into Doctor Who, so he's looking for a Doctor Who something or other. And then something else pops up and he goes, oh my God, I've never even seen that before. I didn't know it even existed. And then that just sets off a whole lot of like alarms in your head going, oh my God, that's just fantastic. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And if it's something rare and unique and expensive, then your poor old brain goes into massive meltdown. And I reckon as a collector, it's fantastic coming across things you've never seen before, but at the same time, it can give you a massive amount of stress because you suddenly go, I've got $50 to buy this one item, but this other item also costs $50. What do you do? So yes.
That land speeder was $60 and I've not going to buy that. There's so much.
No, she was using that as an example. That's she wasn't saying about that buying that one specifically, but that's an interesting one. So there you go. Here we go.
So here are some things that I was, again, sorry, I thought they were going to be a bit larger so you could read them. But stuff that's on the site over there, it's so much cheaper than if you buy locally. The first example there is a carded Star Wars figure, which is Chief Chirper. I think it's even a bit hard for me to see. I think it was about 600 yen.
No, 6,000. I can read it here. So it's 6,000. Yep.
6,000 yen, which works out at about $70.
Yep, that's correct.
So $70 is what you almost pay for the loose figure here. And there's thousands of items up on this site. So I trawled through it for a couple of hours looking for different things. But if you trawled through it every day, you would save a lot of money. It's more, I guess, working out the logistics of getting it shipped to Australia, which we're going to talk about as well. There's a robot figure there from Doctor Who. Now, over here, they are quite rare. They've got hard to find. Maybe a carded one sells on eBay between $50 and $100. I think the Australian conversion there, it was like $17.
Yep, that's correct.
Again, because Doctor Who isn't something that's huge in Japan. And then next to that, we've got another Doctor Who figure, which is the Cyberman figure. And that one was only about $15. Now, for the vintage Cybermen, they're again going between $50 and $100 here. And I think I had all of them loose in the shop when we opened and we sold every single one. So popular figure, a very, very discount price. And it's just because Doctor Who hasn't got a big market in Japan. Now, talking about stuff I jumped on and grabbed straight away, the next item there is a Doctor Who money box. And now they're from the 60s, and that was 3,000 yen, which I got landed for about $50. They don't go.
You got less, 35.
I've landed including postage. I'm talking. Okay. So yeah, so $35, but about $50 to land. In the condition it was in, you don't get them under £250 on English eBay. So if you're smart and you check different regions and you're happy to do a bit of Googling and a bit of research, you can find stuff a lot cheaper. And this is just Doctor Who. This works for everything. Japan has such a depth of toys and collectibles that you can find just about anything you're looking for. It can be a very expensive site to jump onto.
So, question from Joe about postage. Is there postage affordable?
Postage can be expensive, but I often do the what I'm saving on the toys. You can pay a little bit more on the postage because you're saving so much. You've just got to weigh up what you're willing to pay. Often if you set a value of what you're willing to pay for something and then you work out the price of the item and the postage and make sure you don't go over that value, the toy is a lot cheaper and the postage may be, more than getting it locally, but you still wind up way ahead. There is you can do that with this site and with other sites. There's reshippers, and what I find, if you are going to buy individual Doctor Who figures for $17 each, like I was saying before, and then you get each one shipped and it costs you $50, well, you're not going to end up ahead. But if you just get them shipped to a Japanese reshipper, and then when you've got 10 or 20 figures and it costs you, $100 to get the shipping, you're only paying $10 shipping a figure. So even though the shipping is a lot more expensive, you've got the figures for $25 instead of $100. You're working way ahead. So that's why you've got to just get the system right. And once you've got it working and once you know how to do it, then you can buy globally, and it's often a lot cheaper than buying locally, even with the postage.
Very good. Now, Phil doesn't remember going to Mandarake, whatever it's called. So I think you would remember it if you went there. So you must have missed it in your travels there, Phil, because I reckon if your brains didn't explode when you were in Japan, you clearly did not go there, because I imagine that's exactly what would happen. And Mark, I love Mark. He just said he had a look at the site to look for these Doctor Who things, and there's nothing there because Aaron must have cleaned them out. And you know what that means? They're going to be inside his store right now, which you can't get to because it's closed, but that's where they've ended up. So very, very cool. So now we had all these sorts of problems trying to pronounce the name of that place, so which wasn't very good, but this one's a lot more easier.
Yes, so unless I'm getting it wrong, it's Joss. So it sounds like sauce, but with a J. Now, this is another, this is more of a reshipper that has put a whole lot of different auction sites and a whole lot of different places online. So you can buy from Japanese sites. This is one I've used a few times. You send to the Joss warehouse, and then when you've got enough that you want sent to you, then you send it to you, and they give you a small handling fee. So one of the things I was talking about, an absolute I must buy, must have, I've been looking for years. You can see the Doctor Who Revenge of the Cybermen, which is the yellow VHS that's on the right hand side there. I had been literally looking for about 40 years, and then I found this site and I found it almost straight away. And it was one of those that, you know, instant buy, went to their warehouse and got shipped across to me. Now, because I really wanted it, I got it shipped across straight away. But now, if you use the site correctly, there's another one that's up at the moment. That's a Japanese version of Pyramids of Mars. Now, I'm thinking about buying this, I'm not sure if I will or I won't, but I would get it sent to their warehouse, and then I would probably keep shopping for a couple of months and buy some Japanese paperbacks and some other Japanese videos and other odds and ends that you might find, because then it works out a lot cheaper, because they will put it all together, pack it in one go and send it across. So a lot of people do this for America already, but you can do it with other countries as well.
So two things here. Yeah, Joel, 40 years, that doesn't surprise me at all. Sometimes you do have to wait decades for that prized item to land in your lap, and I've been there, done that. Not 40 years so much, but not far from it. So
the interesting thing, it came out 40 years ago and I couldn't track down a copy. And I had some friends who were in record shops over there, and I thought, if anyone's going to find them, it's going to be them. And I found out when I bought this, the reason I didn't get it is because they changed the title in Japan. And all of the books that come out and say this has been released in Japan will say, well, Revenge of the Cybermen has been released in Japan. But they actually changed the title to Counterattack of the Cybermen. So all the people I had looking for me weren't looking for the right title.
It can be very satisfying when you do find something that has eluded you for decades. Sometimes it really is, you know, everything comes to he or she who waits, and that's exactly what happens. And it's amazing when it does. It's a wonderful feeling, but you do wonder how you can sort of be so patient after such a long period of time. And another question, this is actually a good one, actually, from Colin. Is that how does Japan go for Star Trek collectibles?
Well, I found there's actually more Star Trek collectibles than Doctor Who. Not as many as Star Wars. Star Wars is always going to rule. And I was looking just for someone else at Star Trek videos and DVDs, and they had all these different amazing covers for movies and stuff that I had never seen before. And because they're VHS, the price wasn't too expensive either. And I guess it's like everything. The more you look and the more you sort of search, the more you'll find. So when I'm, you know, mainly looking for Doctor Who stuff, so using that as an example, if you're looking for Star Trek, you would absolutely find stuff that you needed and you probably didn't know you needed in your life, but you will see and have to join up the site and get, because there's that much unusual stuff there.
It probably works on the logic that if something can make $1, it'll exist, right? So if one person, they work on that view, if you produce an item and one person buys it, there's a good chance that more than one will buy it down the track as well. So hence the reason why the production occurs in the first place. And you never know, Star Trek collectibles in Japan may be far more in demand, even by Japanese people, than they are, say, in the Western world, because Star Trek overall doesn't have that big a following. But yeah, it seems like there's a lot more Star Trek than Doctor Who in Japan, then clearly, yeah, there's a big market for it, which is absolutely fantastic. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, we go back to Joss.
So here's some more examples of stuff that's on Joss that if it was on eBay, like there'd be millions of people, like, you know, going for it. And I'm looking at high-end collectibles as well as stuff that's so cheap you can't believe it. A couple of things that are on there now. Now, I showed on the other sites that they had Takara C-3PO, which is quite a desirable figure. On this site, they have a Takara R2-D2, which is actually one of the rarer ones. I can't remember seeing many of them with a Takara sticker on before, which is on auction at the moment that I'm looking at. And then we looked at the Takara X-Wing, which at the moment is on auction, and it's 3,800 yen, which is about 40 bucks. Now, that's a toy that goes for thousands of dollars. This is in the middle of an auction with a couple of days to go, so it might massively jump up, but you would never see them even put on eBay for these prices locally. So if you're a Star Wars collector and you've been in lockdown, or you are in lockdown at the moment, and you want to have a look at some of the different stuff that's out there, I would definitely recommend looking at some of these Japanese sites. Now, down the bottom is the other end of the scale. This is a buy it now auction, and it's got, you know, about 5 or 6 carded figures, and some of them are the Princess Leia 2-packs. And there is a couple of rarer figures there. Again, it's a bit too small to see them, but there's some of the Padme ones and unusual ones. Now, that's 2,000 yen buy it now, which is about $22, which is just insanely cheap. You would find those figures for $22 plus each here, kind of thing. So if you are after bulk lots cheap, Japan's a good place to look. If you're looking for unusual high-end products, Japan's a good place to look.
And I just wanted to clarify, even though Aaron said, quick, get on there, buy, spend, only do it if you can afford to do it. This isn't like a gambling site where you're saying spend all your money and then you find you're kicked out on the street because you can't afford your rent. Because Aaron said, buy some shit from Japan. So make sure you're working within your means. It's not gamble responsibly, it's collect responsibly. I thought I'd just put that in as a just to cover our asses.
I guess I'm dangling all these collectible carrots, but I also am trying to, if you're looking for this stuff, show you where you can get it cheaper and how you can get it into the country without paying a fortune for it, because prices have skyrocketed at the moment.
Absolutely. And the Vial has made mention about Japanese movie posters. Yeah, Japan, like a lot of stuff, when they produce their merchandise, they do it really, really high quality and is in big demand. And Steve Sansweet, the world's largest Star Wars merchandise collector, has a big section just related to Japan only. He's had it for decades, because even he said they just produce stuff that no one else even thought of. And for that reason, the cool factor was just so high. So there you go. Very good. So Jaren's saying, yes, secretly Aaron actually owns all the Japanese sites. So there you go. Like it. If Colin said, if you have Aaron can make $1, it'll be in his store. Yep, there's no denying that. Well, he's a dealer. See, keep in mind, everybody, that even though Aaron is actually a collector, he's also a dealer as well. So it's in his best interest to know the go about how to get these things. And so even if you start searching on eBay and the Maraca place and this place and whatever else, if you're a casual collector, you can probably find there's a lot of really good benefits. But if you're in the business of buying, selling, and it's your day-to-day job, clearly you need to know your stuff. And that's the reason why Aaron's sharing these secrets with you. And, of course, it takes time. Everything takes time if you've got the time to do it. Ironically, we're all in lockdown, so we've definitely got the time, which is kind of cool. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back to Docky Who again.
So here we're over to Doctor Who again. And like I said, I was going around country by country looking to fill in the different books. And again, sorry, it's a bit hard for everyone to see, but there's a list of the Portuguese Doctor Who books. Portuguese Doctor Who books are actually quite hard to get, and they go for quite a lot of money. They usually turn up on English eBay and maybe go to £50 to £100 each. So that's a lot for a paperback.
See, I feel, I'm just going to catch off. I feel vindicated now, because what did I say earlier about dabbling in foreign language versions of something? And you just said, oh, the Polish stuff is expensive. And suddenly all these people are going, shit, I've got to get all these Doctor Who Polish books because they're in a different language.
But I'm going to tell you how to get them for under $20 each.
How's that?
So there you go. So what a lot of people don't understand is when they search for stuff internationally, they search for Portuguese Doctor Who books, which is going to work if someone's listed them on English eBay, because then the Portuguese Doctor Who books will come up at collectible prices. But if you go into South America and start looking at the South American bookshops, you can then buy them at South American prices. Now, all around here, this is searches I did this afternoon just before I sent the pictures across to Dags. And just by doing very quick searches, I cut and pasted the Portuguese names of the books, put them into Google. Google throws up a whole lot of links. I found the links that were bookstores in South America, and then I clicked on all of those, and 3 or 4 of them I could put them straight into the cart, and I think they were about 29 Brazilian dollars, and that works out at about $7 Australian. Now, if you look on the far left there,
sorry, go on. Yep.
If you look on the far left there, that one is the Auton Invasion, the one with the big eye, and that one is out of stock because that was one I bought in lockdown and got landed for about,
Hang on.
Sorry.
There we go.
So that was one I found over there and got landed for about $20 or $25. So again, you could put that on English eBay and instantly you're going to get, at least £50. But that's one that I got for me to sort of complete the run of my ones. So it can be done, and it can be done while you're in lockdown, just from your living room, with a bit of search and a bit of knowledge of how to find this stuff. So if you are a Doctor Who book collector and you're one of those people that looks on eBay for oddities and stuff, my advice would be leave eBay aside while you're on lockdown and maybe go on a bit of a tour of different countries in different continents and look directly from the source, and often you'll find things a lot cheaper. So lastly, for the evening, we've gone around the world and we're coming back home. A lot of people can find stuff now on Facebook. And Facebook has become like almost a default eBay for people who've given up on eBay or think it's too expensive. And Facebook's interesting because you've got Facebook Marketplace, but often the stuff on Facebook Marketplace goes it's totally scattershot. If something goes cheap on Facebook Marketplace, it's gone in 5 minutes, and a lot of the stuff is very expensive. But what I had up there was different Facebook groups. So if you're a collector and He-Man floats your boat, you can join the He-Man page and you can chat with other collectors, and they buy and sell stuff. And sometimes stuff is market value and sometimes it's a lot cheaper. But because a lot of the stuff has local content, it's always cheaper sort of postage-wise getting stuff locally. So there's some Star Wars pages there and a Doctor Who stuff for sale and the He-Man page. But any collectible you're into, and I mean any collectible, you will find a page on Facebook dedicated to it. If you're generally into toys, I can't recommend enough Toys R Us, the one in the centre there, which is run locally and has a huge collectors sort of community of people buying and selling and talking about toys. And every Friday on that they have, a sort of show us the collectibles you've got this week, and people will list things that they've got, and you can get a good idea of what's selling locally. Now, for collectors, a lot of us like to sit alone at home and Google stuff and not have anyone sort of disturb us while we're doing it. One of the good things about Facebook communities is you might be collecting something and you can ask on that community, does anyone have that? And people can reach out to you and try and rip you off or do you a favor and sell you something really reasonable. And the other thing about Facebook, which you can do on eBay, but it's a lot harder to do, if you buy something off of someone and you're not just after the one item, I always say, do you have anything else that you've got for sale, or do you have any more collectibles from that genre? And they might have, this has happened to me a lot of times, where they've listed one thing and I bought one item that was pretty cool, and they've said, well, I was just listing that to test the water. I've got a whole garage full. And then, an item can lead on to other things. Now, you can do that, I guess, on any marketplace. You can always ask questions and see if they've got any more. And I list a bit of stuff on eBay, and often I'll list something. It might be a He-Man figure or a Doctor Who book, and I'll get people message me going, I see you've listed this. I'm looking for this. You don't happen to have that. And you know what? If like 99 times it doesn't work, the one time it works, you're going to, get a jackpot. So that's always something when you're collecting. It's like to network. And you make really good friends in the community as well. I mean, I look at the people who've joined in tonight, and a lot of them I'm friends with, but, me and Dags have known them through the shop or through fandom and through our mutual love of collectibles. So that's another one of the riches that you can get from the collecting community.
I certainly agree with the networking side, because I had a friend of mine, I haven't seen him for like 20 years now, and he was into collecting Star Wars food packaging. Okay, now we may have discussed this in another episode, but just to reiterate, so he wasn't interested in food stuff, it was the packaging. And this is prior to the internet becoming as big as what it's become now, and eBay didn't exist and whatever else. And he would actually just send messages through a bulletin board service around the world saying for people, if you have Star Wars food products in your country, buy them and send them to me, and I'll buy Star Wars food products in this country and I'll send them to you. And he actually ended up building this massive network of people all around the world in the most obscure places, just so he could get packaging of food items. And it was one of the most extensive and like mind-boggling collections I'd ever seen, because he would show you potato chip packets from Poland, or cornflake packets from Russia, and all these places you didn't even know that even existed. And that's all he did. He just connected with people and built upon those relationships. And of course, as you said, once you've started and you've made a link, you can then build upon that link, and you just have no idea where it's going to go. And it can pay you huge dividends in the long run, because ultimately, if you're looking for something, somebody else is looking for something as well. And if you help each other out, you just never know what's going to happen. So it can be a very, very cool thing. So good stuff. And with that in mind, that actually brings us to the end of the presentation, which is absolutely fantastic. What do you reckon about that, Mr. Aaron?
Well, I hope that helps people shop smart online and during lockdown. If anyone's got any questions, put them in quickly now before we sort of wind up for the evening.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that have come through. So, Joel's made a bit talk about Japanese video games. Yeah, that's a whole another topic. But yes, in Japan is absolutely insane. Mark's going to have a bit of a heads up here, because he's got his Latino wife can assist him in his search in foreign languages, which is very, very cool. Jared has said about church op shops. Yes, there's a whole discussion about finding things on the cheap and nasty. I think we did that a couple of episodes ago about finding things in collectors' fairs and whatever else. And Pascal just... for the actually, there you go, Jared. So get the Stay Puft marshmallows and put them in the fridge for the next 30, 40 years and see what they're worth. And yes, Michelle, yes, I still have my Batman ice creams in my freezer. They're now 25 years old, but not as old as my chocolate Batmobile, which turns 30. Was it 42? 42 next year. 1992 to now. I don't know what year that is, so I've kind of lost track. So very, very good. Very good. Everybody seems to be enjoying themselves. A lot of comments coming through. Oh, here we go. Not a question, but my wife, I'm missing coming in on Sundays. Yes, unfortunately, nobody can go down there at the moment, so it's a bit sad. So, yes, very, very cool. Anyway, any final words before we sign off, Mr. Aaron?
No, just shop smart online, and you can get just as much during lockdown as when we can go and get it locally. The other thing I would say, though, support local shops as well, especially during lockdown. I think a few people are doing it hard, and most people can still deal online and do curbside drop-offs. So if you've got a favourite local collectible shop, be it Go Figure or sort of All-Star Comics in the city or anywhere else, have a look and see if you can support them in lockdown, because the more of these shops that are around, the better for all of us.
But more importantly, make sure all your collectibles remain mint in box.
Or rip them off the card.
See ya.